And without even recognizing it, you've been feeding your doubts and your fears, and you forgot that in order for your faith to grow, you have to feed it. Have you ever felt something in your spirit calling to you, that down in the depths of your heart, of your very soul, that you were yearning for something, that you were longing for more? Maybe that thing was connection. Maybe you were feeling isolated in this great big world. You just felt like you needed to connect with someone. You felt like you needed to have human interaction. Maybe that thing was belonging to a community, being seen, being heard, being known. But maybe, just maybe, that thing was a deeper relationship with God. The God that loves you, the God that holds you, and the God that walks with you on this journey of life. And maybe you're like a lot of people. You don't feel that connection with God. And maybe you don't feel that connection with God because of the things that you've been through in this life. Maybe you've experienced loss or turmoil, or maybe you just haven't felt the Spirit alive in you. I mean, let's be honest. You work hard for the things that you have, right? You put in blood, sweat, tears, equity. You're invested in your successes, and you're responsible for your failures. So it's hard to wrap your brain around the fact that God is interwoven in each and every one of those things. What kind of God would allow us to fall and to fail? And what kind of God wouldn't grant us, the hard-working people that we are, even more success, even more grace? It's hard to understand a God that doesn't intervene in the way that we want God to intervene. And so what happens when we have this thinking, when we're in this headspace? We get further and further away from God. Instead of investing in that relationship, we invest in our doubts. We pour all of our energy into our fears. And without even recognizing it, you've been feeding your doubts and your fears, and you forgot that in order for your faith to grow, you have to feed it. And that mentality, that state of being, is a toxic place. It's a place where you can't take the next step forward. Because the truth of the matter is, momentum only happens when you build moment upon moment upon moment, where you invest in growth and forward momentum. And sometimes that means that you take 2 steps forward and you take 1 step backward. And in our minds, we think it's not okay to ever take a backward step. We have to be constantly in motion of moving forward. But that's not the way that life works. You see, you and I, we have the power of free will to make our own decisions. And God walks with us through this life and gently nudges us in the right direction. But at the end of the day, when we reach that crossroads in our lives, when we reach that fork in the road, it's up to you and I to make the decision. Which way are we going to go? And whether you acknowledge it or not, sometimes you're going to turn the wrong direction. You're going to make a decision that affects the trajectory of your life. And sometimes things aren't going to go the way that you planned that they might go. Sometimes the world's not going to be in your favor. And guess what? It's okay. God has a plan for you. God has ordained your life to be so much more than you think it is. You know, there's so many people in this world that are dissatisfied with their lives. They're not happy with their career. They're not happy with their personal lives. They're not happy with the way that their life is charting. And it's okay to be dissatisfied with that. It's okay to fear that this is it. But it's not okay to blame your current predicament on God. It's not okay to continue to feed your doubts and insecurities and blame all of that on God. God wants you to succeed. God wants you to feel joy, to feel loved, and to know that you're held. But if you constantly invest all of your energy into doubting God, into saying, God hasn't showed up in my life, God is not there, how do you ever expect God to draw near to you? James 4, verse 8. What does it say? Draw near to God, and God will draw near to you. God's not absent, my friend. God has always been there right beside you. But what are you going to invest in? Are you going to invest in growing that relationship? Are you going to invest in yourself? Or are you going to invest in pity? Are you going to invest in doubt and fear and insecurity? Are you going to invest in yesterday and today? Or are you going to invest in tomorrow and the future that God holds? God's ordained your life to be extraordinary and unique. God has a special call just for you. The choice is yours of whether you want to lean into it or not. Thanks for tuning into the video. I hope you like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
These are your thoughts, dictator. This is the hope of God set free. These are your thoughts.